Arizona, a land of stark beauty and untamed wilderness, is more than just its sun-scorched deserts, towering red rock formations, and ghost towns frozen in time. Beneath its rugged surface lies a tapestry woven with history, mystery, and whispers of the supernatural. From the haunting echoes of ancient Native American rituals to the remnants of Wild West lawlessness, the Grand Canyon State harbors secrets that refuse to stay buried. Among these are places steeped in tragedy, despair, and unexplained phenomena, locales where the veil between this world and the next grows perilously thin. In Part 3 of our series exploring Arizona's most haunted places, we delve deeper into the shadows cast by the state's storied past. These sites are not merely relics of history, they are living, breathing entities that seem to pulse with an energy all their own. Each location tells a tale of human suffering, betrayal, or unspeakable acts, leaving behind spectral imprints that continue to unsettle those who dare to tread upon their grounds. Whether it's the lingering presence of a jilted lover, the restless spirit of a wronged soul, or the collective anguish of forgotten lives, these stories remind us that the dead do not always rest easy. As we journey through abandoned mines, cursed hotels, and eerie desert landscapes, prepare yourself for encounters that defy logic and chill the spine. We'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses too frightened to return, uncover historical records that paint grim pictures of the past, and examine evidence collected by paranormal investigators brave enough to spend nights within these haunted domains. The spirits here are far from passive. They reach out, interact, and sometimes even warn those who cross their paths. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and let us guide you through the haunting legacy of Arizona's most infamous locations. Are you ready to face what lies beyond the veil? For in these desolate corners of the Southwest, the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion, and it has much to say. The Jerome Grand Hotel, a ghostly ascent perched atop Cleopatra Hill in the historic mining town of Jerome. The Jerome Grand Hotel stands as both a monument to Arizona's boom-and-bust mining era and a hotspot for paranormal activity. Originally constructed in 1926 as the United Verde Hospital, this imposing structure served as a sanctuary for injured miners and sick residents during the height of Jerome's copper mining prosperity. Yet, beneath its stately facade lies a dark history riddled with pain, death, and inexplicable hauntings that have earned it a reputation as one of Arizona's most haunted places. During its operational years as a hospital, the building bore witness to countless tragedies. Miners brought in after catastrophic accidents often succumbed to their injuries despite the best efforts of medical staff. Epidemics swept through the community, filling beds faster than doctors could treat patients. One particularly harrowing account describes a typhoid fever outbreak in the 1930s that overwhelmed the facility, forcing nurses to stack bodies in makeshift morgues until proper burials could be arranged. The emotional toll on both patients and staff left an indelible mark on the building's atmosphere, creating fertile ground for supernatural occurrences. After closing its doors as a hospital in 1950, the structure lay vacant for decades, falling into disrepair as Jerome itself became a near-ghost town. In 1994, however, new owners transformed the dilapidated edifice into the Jerome Grand Hotel, preserving its original architectural charm while converting patient rooms into luxurious suites. Yet, renovations did little to silence the spirits said to haunt its halls. Guests quickly began reporting strange phenomena, ranging from disembodied voices echoing through empty corridors to full-bodied apparitions appearing in the dead of night. One of the hotel's most notorious residents is believed to be a former nurse named Elizabeth, whose tragic love affair ended in heartbreak and suicide. According to legend, Elizabeth fell deeply in love with a miner who died in a cave-in before they could marry. Overcome with grief, she took her own life by leaping from the hospital's rooftop. Visitors staying in room 312, the very room where Elizabeth worked, frequently report hearing soft humming late at night, as though someone is soothing an invisible patient. Others claim to see a woman in a vintage nurse's uniform tending to non-existent wounds or adjusting blankets on unoccupied beds. Some have even felt an icy hand brushing against their cheek, accompanied by the faint scent of antiseptic. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is Dr. James Hudson, the hospital's chief physician during its early years. Known for his gruff demeanor and relentless dedication to saving lives, Dr. Hudson allegedly died under mysterious circumstances in the basement operating theater. Paranormal investigators exploring the area describe feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them, as though the air itself is thick with tension. EMF detectors routinely spike near the old surgical equipment, and EVP recordings capture fragmented phrases like "save him" and "it's too late." One chilling account involves a guest waking up to find a shadowy figure standing at the foot of their bed, its silhouette resembling a man in a white coat holding a scalpel. The hotel's elevator, once used to transport patients between floors, has become another focal point of paranormal activity. Guests recount instances of the lift stopping unexpectedly on random floors, opening to reveal empty hallways bathed in an eerie silence. On occasion, disembodied laughter echoes through the carriage, accompanied by the faint strains of jazz music, a nod to the Prohibition-era speakeasies rumored to operate secretly within the building's walls. Maintenance workers tasked with servicing the elevators swear they've seen numbers change spontaneously on the control panel, as if manipulated by unseen hands. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Jerome Grand Hotel remains a popular destination for tourists eager to experience its macabre charm. Owners make no secret of its spectral inhabitants, instead embracing them as part of the property's unique appeal. For those bold enough to book a stay, the promise of encountering Elizabeth, Dr. Hudson, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the ghosts of Jerome's turbulent past, or will they become another chapter in the hotel's haunted legacy? The Birdcage Theater, a stage set for spirits nestled in the heart of Tombstone, Arizona, the Birdcage Theater stands as a relic of the Wild West's untamed days, a place where gunfights, gambling, and debauchery ruled supreme. Opened in 1881, this iconic venue was more than just a saloon and theater. It was a hub of vice and violence, earning its nickname from the suspended bird cages, where women of ill repute entertained patrons. For nearly a decade, the Birdcage played host to some of the Old West's most colorful characters, including Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and countless cowboys, drifters, and desperados. But beneath its raucous exterior lies a darker legacy, one steeped in bloodshed, betrayal, and unexplained phenomena that have cemented its status as one of Arizona's most haunted places. One of the most infamous events tied to the Birdcage occurred in 1883, when a brutal shootout erupted between rival gangs vying for control of the gambling tables. Bullets tore through the crowded room, leaving patrons scrambling for cover. When the dust settled, 3 men lay dead, their bodies sprawled across the blood-soaked floor. Witnesses claimed to hear screams piercing the chaos, followed by an ominous silence. To this day, visitors touring the theater report hearing muffled gunshots and guttural shouting, as though the brawl continues to play out in an endless loop. Some have even sworn they saw shadowy figures grappling over phantom firearms, only to vanish when approached. Adding to the theater's haunted reputation is the legend of Roseanne, a performer who met a grisly fate backstage. According to local lore, Roseanne was murdered by a jealous suitor during a performance, her body hidden beneath the stage boards until authorities discovered her days later. Her spirit is said to linger in the dressing rooms, manifesting as a faint outline of a woman clad in Victorian attire. Actors rehearsing in the space often complain of feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them, accompanied by the sound of quiet sobbing emanating from the walls themselves. One particularly chilling incident involved a modern-day actress who swore she felt cold metal cuffs snap around her wrists, pulling her backward toward the darkness before releasing her abruptly. The Birdcage's basement, once used as a makeshift jail and storage for contraband liquor, is another focal point of paranormal activity. Stories abound of prisoners who vanished mysteriously while awaiting trial, their bodies never found. Contemporary employees tasked with cleaning the area describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly unnerving account comes from a janitor who swore he felt icy breath on his neck, followed by a disembodied voice whispering, "Get out!" Overnight visitors to the birdcage frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the strict no-smoking policy. One patron described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty cowboy outfit standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Paranormal investigators have conducted numerous expeditions within the theater's walls, capturing compelling evidence of its supernatural inhabitants. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops concentrated in specific areas, including the basement and the main stage. Electromagnetic field, EMF, meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to the original owners. Perhaps the most unsettling discovery came during a live investigation broadcast online. Viewers watching the feed spotted a translucent figure darting across the screen in real time, prompting widespread speculation about the nature of the entities haunting the birdcage. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the Birdcage Theater remains a beloved landmark, attracting history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to spend the night, the opportunity to confront the ghosts of Arizona's tumultuous past offers both terror and fascination. Yet, as each new visitor steps across its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the echoes of the Wild West and the restless spirits it left behind. The Vulture Mine, a desert graveyard of ghosts tucked away in the arid expanse of Wickenburg, Arizona, lies the Vulture Mine, a once thriving gold mine that now stands as a desolate testament to greed, desperation, and death. Operational from 1863 to 1942, the Vulture Mine was one of the richest sources of gold in the American Southwest, producing an estimated $200 million worth of ore over its lifetime. However, beneath its glittering treasures lay a darker narrative, one marked by exploitation, violence, and untimely deaths that have left the site teeming with spectral energy. Today, the abandoned mine is considered one of Arizona's most haunted places, drawing curious adventurers and paranormal investigators eager to unearth its secrets. One of the most harrowing tales associated with the Vulture Mine revolves around the fate of Henry Wickenburg, the prospector who discovered the gold deposit. Despite his monumental find, Wickenburg's life spiraled into ruin. Accused of stagecoach robberies he likely did not commit, he was ostracized by the community and stripped of his claims. In 1905, Wickenburg was found dead under suspicious circumstances, officially ruled a suicide but widely believed to be murder. Locals claim his tormented spirit still roams the grounds, particularly near the assay office where he spent his final days. Visitors have reported hearing faint whispers pleading for justice, accompanied by the sensation of icy fingers brushing against their skin. Equally chilling is the story of the mine's notorious hanging tree, a gnarled mesquite tree where over a dozen men were executed for crimes ranging from theft to mutiny. Many of these executions were carried out hastily and without due process, leaving behind a legacy of wrongful deaths. Witnesses described seeing shadowy figures swaying gently from the branches, their forms distorted by moonlight. Some claimed to hear faint cries for mercy or the creak of rope tightening around invisible necks. During one overnight investigation, a team member swore he saw a noose tighten around his own throat, choking him momentarily before releasing him entirely. The mine shafts themselves serve as portals to another realm, where the spirits of long-dead miners continue to toil endlessly. Workers subjected to grueling labor conditions often perished in cave-ins or succumbed to toxic gases, their bodies left entombed within the earth. Modern-day explorers recount hearing the rhythmic clang of pickaxes striking rock, followed by labored breathing and muttered curses. Flashlights flicker erratically deep underground, casting eerie shadows on jagged walls. One particularly unnerving encounter involved a group of spelunkers who swore they saw glowing eyes peering at them from the darkness, only to realize the gaze belonged to a skeletal figure partially embedded in the rock face. Above ground, The remains of the mining camp offer equally spine-chilling experiences. The superintendent's house, once the residence of William Buck Godfrey, is said to be haunted by his protective spirit. Employees tasked with securing the property report being shoved violently away from restricted areas, as though an invisible force were guarding Buck's domain. Others claim to see a tall, broad-shouldered figure pacing anxiously in front of the windows, his silhouette illuminated by lantern light. Inside the crumbling structure, disembodied voices issue warnings like "Stay out" or "Leave me alone," captured clearly on EVP recordings. Even the surrounding desert landscape seems alive with malevolent energy. Travelers passing through the area describe sudden drops in temperature, accompanied by the sensation of being watched. Coyotes howl incessantly in the distance, their calls eerily synchronized with gusts of wind sweeping through the barren terrain. Some report seeing ghostly apparitions resembling miners trudging along dirt paths, their faces obscured by shadows. Others claim to feel the weight of invisible shackles binding their ankles, as though dragged unwillingly toward the mine entrance. Despite, or perhaps because of, its sinister reputation, the Vulture Mine continues to attract thrill-seekers and historians alike. For those brave enough to venture inside, the promise of encountering Henry Wickenburg, condemned souls, or restless miners adds an element of both fascination and dread. Yet, as each new explorer crosses its threshold, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the horrors that lie within, or will they become another chapter in the mine's macabre legacy? The Yuma Territorial Prison, shackles that bind beyond death perched on a bluff overlooking the Colorado River. The Yuma Territorial Prison stands as a grim reminder of Arizona's penal past. Operating from 1876 to 1909, this fortress-like institution housed some of the Wild West's most notorious criminals, including murderers, bank robbers, and cattle rustlers. Despite its reputation for strict discipline and innovative rehabilitation programs, such as teaching inmates trades like blacksmithing and woodworking, the prison was far from humane. Overcrowding, extreme temperatures, and outbreaks of disease made life unbearable for many inmates, while others faced brutal punishments such as solitary confinement and public floggings. It is these harsh realities that have left an indelible imprint on the prison's walls, transforming it into one of Arizona's most haunted places. One of the most infamous incidents tied to the Yuma Territorial Prison occurred in 1887, when a violent riot erupted among prisoners protesting inhumane conditions. Armed with makeshift weapons, the inmates clashed with guards in a desperate bid for freedom. What began as a tense standoff escalated into a deadly melee, leaving 5 men dead and dozens injured. Bloodstains soaked into the sandstone floors, and the screams of the dying echoed through the cell blocks. Today, visitors touring the prison report hearing muffled shouts and the clanging of metal bars, as though the riot continues to rage in some parallel dimension. Some have even claimed to see shadowy figures grappling over phantom firearms, only to vanish when approached. Adding to the prison's haunted reputation is the legend of John Ryan, a convicted murderer sentenced to hang for his crimes. According to historical accounts, Ryan maintained his innocence until the end, cursing the warden and guards as he mounted the scaffold. His execution went awry, resulting in a prolonged and agonizing death that left witnesses traumatized. Since then, sightings of Ryan's ghost have been reported throughout the facility, particularly near the gallows where he met his fate. Guards stationed in the area described feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, accompanied by the acrid smell of burning rope and the sound of heavy boots scraping across the floor. One chilling account involves a tour guide who swore he felt a cold hand grip his shoulder, turning to find no one there. The prison's solitary confinement cells, known colloquially as the dark hole, are another focal point of paranormal activity. Used to punish unruly inmates, these windowless chambers were designed to break the spirit of even the most hardened criminals. Stories abound of prisoners driven to madness by the isolation, their cries echoing through the stone corridors. Modern-day visitors recount experiencing intense claustrophobia while standing near the cells, as though invisible hands were pressing down on them. Others claim to hear faint sobs emanating from within, despite the fact that the doors remained firmly bolted shut. During one investigation, a thermal camera revealed a humanoid figure crouched in the corner of a cell, its form dissipating moments later. Overnight stays at the Yuma Territorial Prison offer brave souls the chance to experience these phenomena firsthand. Many guests recount waking up to the feeling of someone touching their arm, or hearing heavy footsteps pacing outside their door. Some even claim to see shadowy figures standing at the foot of their beds, only to vanish when approached. These encounters are so frequent that the site offers guided ghost tours, allowing curious visitors to explore the darker side of its storied past. Participants describe sudden drops in temperature, accompanied by the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Yuma Territorial Prison remains a magnet for thrill-seekers and history buffs alike. Its blend of elegance and eeriness makes it one of Arizona's most sought-after destinations for those willing to test their courage against the unknown. As we continue our exploration of haunted places, few sites rival the sheer magnitude of spectral energy contained within the steel bars and stone walls of this forsaken penitentiary. The Copper Queen Hotel. Elegance entangled with the supernatural nestled in the historic mining town of Bisbee, Arizona. The Copper Queen Hotel exudes an air of refined elegance that belies its turbulent history. Established in 1902, this grand establishment was originally envisioned as a sanctuary for the elite, offering breathtaking views of the Mule Mountains and luxurious accommodations fit for royalty. With its sweeping verandas, crystal chandeliers, and meticulously manicured gardens, the Copper Queen quickly became a beacon of sophistication and exclusivity. However, beneath its polished veneer lay a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, heartbreak, and unexplained phenomena that would cement its status as one of Arizona's most haunted places. The origins of the Copper Queen's spectral infamy can be traced back to its founder, Charles Schaffhausen, a wealthy industrialist whose personal life unraveled in spectacular fashion. Rumors swirled about his volatile marriage to Eleanor Schaffhausen, a woman rumored to have been driven to madness by her husband's infidelities. Their tempestuous relationship reached a breaking point in 1915, when Eleanor was found dead under suspicious circumstances in room 312. While officially ruled a suicide, whispers of foul play persisted, fueled by reports of Charles's erratic behavior in the weeks leading up to her death. Following the tragedy, Charles withdrew from society, rarely seen outside the confines of the hotel he had built. It wasn't long before strange occurrences began to plague the Copper Queen. Guests staying in room 312 reported hearing faint piano music drifting through the walls, despite the absence of any instrument in the vicinity. Others claimed to see a pale figure resembling Eleanor gliding silently through the corridors, her expression one of sorrowful longing. The most chilling accounts came from housekeeping staff, who swore they witnessed the bed in room 312 neatly made itself after being stripped bare, as though Eleanor were still tending to her duties as hostess. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is Thomas Greaves, a disgraced financier who checked into the Copper Queen in 1923 during a desperate attempt to evade creditors. Consumed by guilt and paranoia, Greaves barricaded himself in room 407, refusing to leave or accept visitors. Days later, his body was discovered slumped over a desk littered with torn documents and empty liquor bottles. Since then, guests occupying room 407 have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, accompanied by the stench of stale alcohol and the sound of papers rustling violently in the dead of night. Some claim to catch glimpses of a gaunt man pacing anxiously in front of the window, his face obscured by shadows. The Copper Queen's ballroom, once the site of lavish galas and high society gatherings, has also become a focal point of paranormal activity. Visitors attending events in the space often describe feeling an inexplicable chill, even amidst the warmth of celebration. Musicians performing on stage have reported hearing discordant notes played on phantom instruments, disrupting their melodies mid-performance. On more than one occasion, attendees have sworn they saw couples dancing gracefully across the floor, only to realize there was no music playing and no visible source of illumination casting their silhouettes. Modern-day investigations into the Copper Queen's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal cameras have detected significant temperature drops in key locations, including room 312 and the ballroom. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to the original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Copper Queen Hotel continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Eleanor, Thomas, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, the Copper Queen promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. Patterns across Arizona's haunted sites, echoes of suffering and spectral energy when examining Arizona's most haunted places. Including the ones explored in this installment, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of the Jerome Grand Hotel to the shadowed depths of the Vulture Mine, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical practices at the Jerome Grand Hotel or the betrayed trust of miners entombed alive in the Vulture Mine, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing visitors to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted locations, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. As we bring this chilling journey through Arizona's most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of Arizona's haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken domains offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, But isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come.